Hey everybody, a couple of friends of mine decided to, well, in fairness, one didn't, the other did, but John Hood, who I've known all the way back to my Cal days, decided to tag me on Facebook, and I'm thinking, why am I being tagged? And it was some sort of rant that Steve Haywood, who is the brother of my friend, longtime friend Greg Haywood, we all went to school together at Cal, uh, had been on this rant about why Beto O'Rourke dropped out and mentioned something about lefties and weakness and all that. Uh, I, I am of the left. However, even though technically I'm center left, whatever, I don't care about that. I have this observation I want to share with Steve and John and everyone else in the world regarding why I believe Beto O'Rourke failed. Beto O'Rourke failed primarily because, how do I put it? The idea of Beto was bigger than the reality of Beto O'Rourke. And when the reality of Beto O'Rourke hit, what we saw was a person who was still pretty much at odds with his place or how he perceived his place in the world versus reality. The reality is the dude's running for high office. He ran for Congress and won. He ran for Senate, but he didn't beat Ted Cruz. And that was my first clue that, hey, there wasn't as much there as people said there was, okay, in terms of his ability to win and be a leader. But he pressed forward and suddenly, boom, a presidential candidate. And I thought, well, the train keeps going. It apparently is picking up steam in this direction toward the eventual path of the White House, right? And then he did something in July that personally bugged me. He apologized for being white and talked about white privilege. And at that point, he lost me. Yeah, it wasn't that he was right about it. It's just that if you're running for president of the United States, you don't apologize for who you are. Barack Obama at no point ever apologized for who he was. He was strong. He made a statement. He said messages that we all wanted to hear, but he never at any point apologized for who he was as a person. And in all my life, people who were proud of who they were consistently that. I remember my so way back in Skyline, my high school teacher in English, Mr. Rizzo, he would always say, I'm Italian. And Rizzo would say that all the time in front of the class and everybody. And it wasn't a joke. It was presented in this way that was also wonderfully, one would think, Italian, free of life, free to express themselves, free of worry, enjoying of life, and that, in his own way, was the sign of a leader. And so, what I felt was that this is a person who understood who he was unabashedly. So he was actually even dating the person I was in high school with in my class. Think about that. And no one thought anything wrong was wrong with it. Think about that too, okay? But he was unabashedly himself. Beto O'Rourke was not unabashedly himself. Yeah, we know that white privilege exists. We know there are people who are white supremacists. We know people who are racist, fine. But as a leader, you don't want to say to people who look like you, oh, hey, by the way, I'm white and you're white, and I think being white sucks. Are you going to vote for somebody like that? Of course not. No one is. So it came no surprise that after that July, his support started going away. I mean, you don't want to go on an ethnic apology tour with someone who's running for the White House. You want that person to represent the best of America, and regardless of color, you want to see in that person the best of how you can be and how the country can be. And that should transcend race. And for Beto O'Rourke, he basically said to a lot of white folks, I'm sorry for being white. But he said to me as a black guy, hey, I'm sorry for being me too, and I hope you like me because of that. And I'm thinking, no, dude, you're an awful presidential candidate. You have to show strength. You have to like who you are, regardless of who you are. And in this world, where people in social media too often attack each other, there's this shame culture. in order to be a strong leader, you have to be strong enough to say to everybody else, heck with it, I am who I am, I know I'm good, and that's it. And that message didn't resonate with Beto O'Rourke. But with Barack Obama, he never had to apologize for who he is. And if you think about it, and I hate to put it this way, but it has to be said, Donald Trump doesn't apologize for who he is either. Keep that in mind. Back for more.